Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS and welcome to lecture number 1 of Modern Algebra, Mathematics Optional UPSC CSE, which is asked in your paper 2 section A. Now, before we talk about what the subject is about, or is it difficult or is it easy or anything of that sort, first just let's understand what the syllabus of this subject is, right? Because आप difficult and easy बाद में decide करोगे, right? First of all, you should know what entails the subject, right? So basically your whole course of modern algebra or the syllabus of modern algebra has been primarily divided into two parts, right? First one is your group theory and second one is your ring theory. Now when we talk about group theory, what is the one word that we know about? Groups, right? ये हमने पहले से पढ़ा है. We थोड़ा बहुत basics तो हमें आते ही हैं, right? So what is basically a group? When I talk about it, आपके दिमाग में 4-5 random properties आ रही होंगी, right? कुछ associative, commutative, something of that sort, right? So what happens in groups is I take any set. What is a set? वो भी हम देखेंगे अभी, right? Set ले लेते हैं. Most popular set लेते हैं. Let's say natural numbers, right? So I have taken, let's say, natural numbers and I associate some binary operation with it. Now what is the purpose of associating a binary operation? Is to see कि हम इसमें क्या कर सकते हैं. अब आपने set ले लिया, what is the next step? Obviously you are trying to figure out what is the relationship amongst these elements of the given set, right? So I have taken, let's say, addition and I'm then going to, or this is also known as your binary operation, clear? Now why is it called binary and all that, वो बाद में देखेंगे. पहले हमें पता है कि भाई एडिशन कैसे होती है, तो अभी उस हिसाब से समझते हैं. So then you have 4 properties, right? आपका सबसे पहले you have closure, then you have associativity, then you have existence of identity, then you have existence of inverse. आ रहा है कुछ याद हल्का हल्का? ऐसा सा कुछ सबने ही पढ़ा होगा आई गेस. जो भी थोड़े बहुत मैथमेटिक्स बैकग्राउंड वाले हैं, इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड वाले हैं, उन्होंने इतना बेसिक्स तो पढ़े ही हैं, राइट? तो आपकी ये 4 प्रॉपर्टीज़ हैं प्राइमरीली. क्लोजर क्या होती है कि अगर आप 2 एलिमेंट्स को ऐड कर रहे हो, अभी इसी में बात करेंगे फॉर नेचुरल नंबर्स. सो इफ आई एम एडिंग 2 नेचुरल नंबर्स, लेट्स से आई एम टेकिंग 2 और 3 और मे बी 1000 और 2, राइट? आई एम गोइंग टू ऐड इट एंड आई एम गोइंग टू गेट एन आंसर विच इज गोइंग टू बी अगेन inside the natural number set only. Okay, it can never be a negative integer, right? आप 2 numbers को add करोगे, always you're going to get a natural number. That is your closure property. Closed है basically, ठीक है? Then associativity का मतलब होता है the order of the operation that you're applying. Let's say if I'm adding a plus b plus c, then it shouldn't matter that what is the order in which I'm adding or applying the operation, right? So this is your associativity. Then why do we say existence of identity? ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि किसी सेट के पास आइडेंटिटी ना हो, right? So when I talk about the natural numbers with respect to what? Addition, what is the identity that comes to mind? What is identity? Basically when I'm applying the operation to it, I should get the same number back, right? So that is an identity which makes no change to the element. So आपका यहाँ पे 0 है, but 0 does not belong to the set, right? So there is no existence of identity inside the given set that we are talking about. Then existence of inverse, that same thing, right? अब आप क्या बोल रहे हो कि आपके पास inverse होना चाहिए. What is inverse? That if I add some number to it, I should get the identity element, right? पहली बात तो we don't have the identity, so we cannot talk about the existence of inverse. But let's say if it was there. Let's say if I take the set as natural numbers union 0, right? If I take it like this, then the identity is going to exist, right? But when I'm going to talk about the inverse part of it, minus a. So for any positive number or any natural number a, let's say 2, 3, what is the negative of all these or additive inverses? They are going to be minus 2, minus 3. They do not belong to the given set, right? So इस तरीके से हम क्या करते हैं? We try to figure out, and if these 4 properties are satisfied with any set and it is with the given binary operation, then we call it as a group, right? Once we have defined a structure, what happens is हम इसमें और properties देखने की कोशिश करते हैं, right? So what is the next step? The next step is your seeing if some section of that set is also going to form that property. So that is going to be your subgroup. You take a subset, you take a small chunk of the given group or given set, and you see if that set is also going to apply or it is going to follow the same properties, these four properties with respect to the same binary operation as that of your group. Clear? उसके बाद you have cyclic groups, ठीक है? Then you have abelian groups as well. abelian group क्या होता है? जहाँ पे इन सब 4 प्रॉपर्टीज के साथ में यू हैव कम्यूटेटिविटी एज वेल, राइट? उसके बाद देर आर सेवरल, आई वुड से कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज कह सकते हैं, या फिर आप कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज से तो हमें लगता है दैट इट इज़ गोइंग टू बी डिफिकल्ट, बट दीज थिंग्स आर नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट, दे आर वेरी ईजी. बस क्या है, छोटे छोटे नुआंसेस हैं दैट यू आर सपोज टू ग्रैब ऑन टू. क्लियर? सो इसके बाद आपके मतलब बेसिकली हमारा एजेंडा क्या है, व्हाट आर वी ट्राइंग टू अचीव व्हेन वी आर ट्राइंग टू स्टडी ग्रुप थ्योरी, इज दैट we are able to establish mappings between our groups. Okay, आपके isomorphism क्या होता है? Isomorphism is basically a mapping that you establish between two given groups. हमेशा हम mapping की या functions की बातें करते हैं किसके sense में? We talk that about in the sense of sets only, right? But once we introduce in place of those sets groups, then that is when we are talking about isomorphism. So if that mapping is going to be 1 1 and on 2, that is, it is going to be a bijection, then we can say that it is then that the given mapping is isomorphism. That is basically mapping between groups. So that is the major agenda where we want to reach once we are studying group theory. So this was about group theory. Then we come to the part that is your ring theory. What is special about rings? Rings is basically an advanced structure of your groups, right? What we were doing in groups, we were taking a set, associating a binary operation with it, and then we were checking for all these properties. But what we do in rings is that we take again a binary, a non-empty set, we associate a binary operation with respect to this first binary operation. This has to follow some properties, okay? Namely these 4 and plus abelian property, that is a commutativity, and then we introduce one more operation. मतलब अगर हम इंडिविजुअली देखेंगे n plus and n dot, ये तो फिर ग्रुप ही हो गए, राइट? अगेन दे आर ग्रुप्स ओनली. बट व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस होल स्ट्रक्चर together, that means n plus is an abelian group and n dot, to be precise, if n dot is a semi group, then we call it as a ring. Clear? अब इसमें आगे जाके again sub rings is going to be the same as subgroups, right? अब इसमें आगे जाके again the main agenda is what? To understand homomorphism of rings, and then to understand, ये तो आपका थोड़ा basic ही हो गया, principal ideal domains, Euclidean domains and unique factorization domains. Clear? And once you have done this, घूम फिर के आपकी बात कहाँ आएगी? It is going to be this: fields and quotient fields. What are the conditions? What are the properties that an algebraic structure of this sort must satisfy in order to become a field? घूम फिर के आपने फील्ड पे पहुंचना है. सो आपको स्टेप समझ में आ गए व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू. सो फर्स्ट वील स्टार्ट विद ग्रुप, दैट इज वन algebraic structure with one binary operation. फिर उसमें सारी properties we will study. Once we are done with that, we are going to introduce a second binary operation, and then with respect to that, gradually we are going to introduce properties, and finally we are going to end up with fields or quotient fields. Clear? All right, so that this is about our syllabus. Now, modern algebra, all in all, is a very, I would say, is a relatively easy subject. But what problem is with modern algebra is that it's too generic. आप जब बात करते हो तो बहुत general terms में बात करते हो. Initially, when you will be studying modern algebra as per this course, there are going to be lectures which are going to be very interesting. Why? Because आप initially groups पढ़ोगे, you will be studying about let's say dihedral groups, Klein's group, quaternion groups. All of these groups are going to be there. क्या होगा? उसमें आपको numbers मिलेंगे. You are going to see elements right in front of your eyes. But once you move past that point, जब आप cosets में घुसोगे, आप Lagrange's theorem तो चलो ठीक है, but when you enter normal subgroups, quotient groups, all of these things when they start, these lines seem to get blurred. Why? Because अब आप क्या कर रहे हो, you are talking in very generic terms. So once you are into that, तब वहाँ पे आपको होता है ना, you are very comfortable once you see numbers. But when the moment you start seeing alphabets, है ना, the moment you start seeing proofs, the moment you start seeing assumptions, that is when the problem begins, right? So होगा क्या? My aim here is to build a very good foundation so as to make that generic approach easier for you. So हम start कैसे करेंगे? That I will be explaining to you with the help of the units in which I have divided the syllabus, right? This we will come back later. So these are the total units that are going to be in our this course. Group theory is divided into 11 units, right? And till here, what we are going to study is, we are going to, basically I would call this your repository. Okay? Repository क्या है? आपका ammunition, आपका सारा असला बारूद, what you call it, to fight your battle. ठीक है? Basically आप क्या कर रहे हो, सारी चीज़ें इकट्ठी करके रख लोगे अपने पास में. यहाँ पे आपको types of groups भी पता लग जाएंगे. ठीक है? You will have groups. Then you will have properties of all those groups. Okay? And then you will know properties of elements in detail. So अगर आप किसी group का general structure भी देखोगे, so instantly you would be able to tell that what this structure is about. ठीक है? If you would be given, let's say, properties of elements of a group, instantly you would be able to understand that what group is it trying to talk to me about. Clear? Once you are clear about the elements of a group, आप तुरंत किस पे काम कर सकते हो? आप मैपिंग पे काम कर सकते हो. That is your homomorphism and isomorphism. Clear? इसके बाद we will be doing abelian, cyclic groups, subgroups. देख रहे हो, subgroups हम काफ़ी लेट स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, राइट? बिकॉज इसके पहले वी आर मोस्टली बिल्डिंग अप ऑन द कंटेंट दैट वी नीड, और द आई वुड से अगेन योर रिपोजिटरी दैट यू नीड टू गो in the general and the proving kind of things. Clear? Now, then you have normal subgroups, factor groups and homomorphism that I have told you already about. And इसके बाद we are going to start with ring theory. अब ring theory में the approach is going to be slightly different. Ring theory में we are not going to be studying more, all the types of rings. Why? Because आप ये देखो, R plus आपका abelian group हो गया, right? This you are very well versed by this point, right? उसके बाद I have introduced another binary operation. आपने साथ में you have introduced two binary operation, but there is no difference in when you are doing the calculations for it, right? आप एक operation के साथ करो, दूसरे के साथ करो, it is one and the same thing. Clear? So in ring theory, we are not going to be taking up as much examples as we will be taking in group theory, right? So instantly what we are going to do is, because we are very well versed with the idea of all the properties of groups, we are going to straight move to the more complex properties of rings or associated with rings. Why? क्योंकि इसमें आपके पास introduction में first you will be seeing rings, then you will have sub rings, okay, then you will have integral domain, okay, integral domain, then you will have division ring, and also you will have skew field also is going to be there, and then you will have field. Clear? तो इसमें क्या हो जाता है, you have multiple structures, okay? So इस पे काम करना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी होता है. Once we are done with these structures, basic properties of these structures, then we will be moving on to ideals, in which we will be studying your principal ideal domains. Clear? After this, you have homomorphism. Again, the main idea is to establish mappings, right? Then you have homomorphism, and then you have relatively advanced structures, that is your ED and UFT, that is your Euclidean domain and unique factorization domains. And ultimately, we are going to, after this, we are going to end up with fields only. Clear? So this is the basic structure that we are going to go about, and how I have divided the syllabus into separate units. Now, give me one moment. Now I would like to give you a rough idea as to how much time we are going to take. if you I know there is a lot of material available, so if you're going to go with that material, it becomes very I would say borderline impossible to complete all of that syllabus within a given time frame, right? So what I'm trying to do here is, what we will be trying to do here is that we are going to crunch the syllabus as much as possible, right? So total course is going to be around roughly 35 hours, okay? So आपका 35 hours I would say roughly, I guess 40 आप रख सकते हो मोटा मोटा. So initial lectures are going to be 2 hours, all right, and then later on it will be 3 hours each, okay? Some might be a bit longer, maybe 3 hours 30 minutes or 4 hours maybe, depending on the content that is remaining for us. So initially we are going to take 2 hours only for each lecture, and I would say these are going to be relatively easier for you, क्योंकि बहुत जल्दी जल्दी हो जाएगा. आप क्या कर सकते हो, I have solved all the I'll be solving all the questions here. So what you can do is, आप उसमें देखो, क्वेश्चन देखो, आप अपने हिसाब से उसको सॉल्व करो, यू सॉल्व देम बाय योरसेल्फ, एंड देन यू कैन रीचेक योर आंसर्स. यू कैन चेक योर आंसर्स आफ्टर फॉलोइंग विद माय सोल्यूशन. क्लियर? सो यहाँ तक कि आपके जो भी लेक्चर्स होंगे, दे आर गोइंग टू, आप इनको 1.5x एंड 2x पे भी देख सकते हो जल्दी जल्दी, ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज दे आर रिलेटिवली सिंपलर कॉन्सेप्ट्स, राइट? एंड आफ्टर दैट यहाँ से आपका थोड़ा मेजर चंक स्टार्ट होगा, तो उसमें आप थोड़ा सा एफर्ट ज़्यादा मारना. क्लियर? ऑल राइट, ठीक है. सो दिस इज बेसिकली द बेस ऑफ आर the basic structure of our whole course. And also, why is this important? Because every year for the past 5 years there have been 40 marks questions asked, 40 and बीच में एक जगह था जहाँ पे it was 50, that is your 2020 में. And so basically हम result पे पहुँच सकते हैं that there is a aggregate 40 marks that are asked every time in your paper. So obviously आपको choice boundation हो जाती है, so obviously you can not leave this whole subject altogether, right? It is a very important subject, and also we'll try that we are very efficient by the end of this series. Clear? Okay, so enough chit chat, let's start with our very first unit, that is your introduction and basics. Now, why am I saying basics? It might be for some of you that आप भूल चुके हो, बहुत time हो गया है, that you have not studied anything remotely related to your group theory or your modern algebra. Clear? So today's lecture, basically this is not +1 lecture, okay? This is basically a -1 lecture, or you would say an orientation lecture, where we will be going one step backwards, and we are going to basically revise everything we have studied in 11th or 12th standard, right? क्या है वो? Basics, sets, relations, functions, and some new types of functions. And then we are going to end this lecture with a basic introduction of groups. Clear? So क्या होगा, हमें एक strong point मिल जाएगा, ठीक है, आगे बढ़ने के लिए, ताकि हमें कोई confusion ना रहे. There is no confusion for the basic things that are expected of you, that you should know when you are starting group theory. Clear? So first lecture है, revision है, and if somebody feels that it is relatively boring and आपको नहीं देखना है या क्या करेंगे ये सब देख के, if you are having such thoughts, I would suggest that इसको फटाफट से 2x पे चला के just watch it once. Clear? And then you can move forward. All right. So now I want you to read all these 4 statements and tell me what comes to your mind. Okay, so the first statement says a group of beautiful cities, right? So what is the defining factor here? Beautiful, right? And the second says all tall people in the room. What is the defining factor? Tall. A collection of best movies, best. And then finally a set of tasty fruits. Now it might happen that there are, let's say, A, B, C, D, n number of people that are reading these statements, right? So for a person, the set of beautiful cities might be, let's say, Meghalaya में कोई city, Sikkim में कोई city, Gangtok is a place that one likes, and then you have Jaipur, you have Udaipur, then you have let's say Dehradun, you have Mussoorie. All of these places you have in your mind, right? So A might say some set of cities, B might say some set of cities, C is different and D is also different. There might be some overlap. There might be some overlap between them, but we cannot say for sure that the set of beautiful cities is going to be a proper set of cities. Clear? So there is ambiguity as to what can be included in the statement when we say beautiful cities. Same goes for all tall people in the room. A person who is, let's say, 5 foot 2 inches is going to say that a person with a height of 5'8" is also tall. But a person, same person, who might not be considered tall when it comes to a person who is seeing that person is, let's say, 6 feet tall, he will say that he's a short person, right? So there is again ambiguity as to what we can categorize as tall people, right? Then you have collection of best movies, again a very debatable topic, right? किसी को मार्वल पसंद होगा, किसी को डीसी पसंद होगा, किसी को क्रिंज आपके आपके क्या बोलते हैं ब्रेन रॉट्स पसंद होंगे, बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं, right? So there is a whole dimension to it that some people might be of certain taste. And then again we can end this with the set of tasty fruits. Some people might feel that the most tasty fruit is your mango. Some might be very comfortable with bananas and everything, right? So there is whole ambiguity. Ambiguity का मतलब क्या है? Confusion, right? कि आपके पास confusion है, चार लोग बैठ गए तो वो decide नहीं कर सकते that what is going to be the set or what the set is going to look like, right? Then read the next 5 statements. The first statement says the first 5 natural numbers. What are the first natural numbers? First 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if there is an educated person, A, B, C, D, E, and n number of people, nobody can say that 6 is going to be in that set. राइट इस जगह पे 6 की कोई इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं है, 0 की कोई इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं है. वाई? बिकॉज दिस इज एन यूनिवर्सली एक्सेप्टेड डेफिनेशन ऑफ सेट्स, राइट? देन वावल्स इन द इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, इंग्लिश अल्फाबेट्स A, E, I, O, U. Prime numbers less than 10. What are the prime numbers less than 10? 2, 3, 5, 7, right? Then you have colors in the Indian flag. You have saffron, वाइट, ग्रीन. अब कुछ लोग होंगे वो 3 ही बोलेंगे, बट व्हाट इज द 4th कलर? दैट इज योर ब्लू, राइट? देन यू हैव लेटर्स इन द वर्ड मैथ. सम पीपल माइट से मेथ, राइट? बट दिस इज अ होल डिफरेंट थिंग, राइट? सो व्हाट इज द एक्चुअल डेफिनेशन और द इंक्लूजन ऑफ लेटर्स? दैट इज गोइंग टू बी MATH. So these are the proper definitions and there is no confusion, there is no ambiguity when I can include one element in that set or not, right? So jab this situation arises, when you have this situation, that is when we call a given collection of elements a set. Clear? Now we'll take up the basic definition of it. That is a collection of well-defined objects or things is called a set. By well-defined, we mean that there is no ambiguity or confusion regarding the inclusion or exclusion. Inclusion bhi or exclusion bhi of any object. Now, members of these sets are known as elements. So basically, A, E, I, O, U. जब आप एक set ले रहे हो, so these are the elements in it. Capital letters से you denote the sets, and the small letters से, let's say I'm considering the set A, right? So what are the elements going to look like? A1, A2, A3 and till AN, right? And I'm saying there are n elements in this set. So the small elements are going to be used to denote elements. Then the number of elements in a set is known as the cardinality of the set, right? Cardinality मतलब कितने sets हैं, elements हैं यहाँ पे. That means cardinality of A equals to n here. There are n elements. If you see here, what is the cardinality of this set? This is 5, this is again 5, this is again not again but 4, right? Then यहाँ पे you have 4 and again यहाँ पे we have 4, right? You can name these sets a bit different. यहाँ पे आप A dash कर लो, A हो गया, A double dash and so on, you can name them, right? All of these are different sets. Now moving on, ways to represent a set. So there are two variations in which you can represent a set. One being the one we did right now, that is your the set of natural numbers can be written as or I will name it A. It can be represented 1 2 3 4 5. ठीक है, नाम से ही बता दिया आपने, that elements are going to look like this. But when you are talking about the set builder form, नाम से पता चल रहा है that you are building the set, right? So there is going to be some information in it. Let's say x, right? X आएगा यहाँ पे, x is an element of this set, or I can say small a is going to be an element of this set. And what is the property of a? Or I should say a is less than equals to 5 and a belongs to natural numbers. Clear? Okay, so यहाँ से हमें पता लग जाएगा, I can build the set from here, that is your 1 2 3 4 and 5. Clear? Now some common notations I would like to tell you. This is your belongs to sign. Okay, this is your there exists. Then you have for all. Let's say I'm saying some property. Okay, what I'm doing here is that, let's say I am making a set, let's say a by 2, ठीक है, and for all, or I should say a belongs to natural number, or a belongs to your set A. So I'm taking the elements from here, right? And also B is what? B is a subset of natural numbers only. So what are the elements that are going to come here? That are going to be the elements which are divided by 2 only, right? So the only elements here are there, they are going to come here is, they are 2 and 4. Clear? So इस तरीके से आप बता सकते हो. And let's say I'm making a set, another set C, ठीक है, A by 2, for all A belongs to, let's say capital A. ठीक है, सब एलिमेंट्स मैंने ले लिए, कोई ऐसी बाउंडेशन या फिर लिमिटेशन नहीं है, सो दैट आई कैन एज टू व्हाट एलिमेंट्स आई कैन इंक्लूड इन दिस सेट और नॉट. क्लियर? तो ये हो गया आपका. उसके बाद यू हैव व्हाट एल्स. यूजुअली ST इज सच दैट, ठीक है, IE यू नो दैट इज, ठीक है, एंड देन यू हैव 3 dots लाइक दिस आर therefore or hence, and this is going to be your since. Okay, so basically since is when आप कोई result use कर रहे हो, that since this is the property. Okay, and therefore is this क्या आप you are concluding something. So आप जो भी information given है, therefore I can say this has been proven here. Clear? So these are some common things or symbols that you should know, and if I come across some new symbol, I'll tell you hand to hand then. Clear? Then you have some fundamental sets. Now what are the fundamental sets? They are, I would say, what you call as some basic sets, some obvious sets that you should know, right? So what are the set of natural numbers? Is you skip 0 and you start with 1 2 3 4 5 and so on. Then you have the set of integers. So what you're supposed to do, आप 0 include करोगे, then you're going to take all the natural numbers and you're going to take negative of all these numbers. So these are going to be the set of all positive and negative integers along with 0, right? Then you have the set of rational numbers. So what is the defining property of rational numbers? बचपन से पढ़ते आ रहे हैं, numbers that can be represented in P by Q form and Q is not equals to 0. Clear? अब ठीक है, ऐसे तो हमें पता ही है कि P by Q फॉर्म में represent कर सकते हैं, but what is that defining property? हर set की जब आप कुछ भी आप एक definition देते हो, there is a defining property that singles it out. So what is that defining property? That is your decimal expansion, right? Now consider, let's say I'm taking 1 by 2, okay, so this is going to be 0.5. I'm taking 4, this is 0.25, right? But if I take, let's say 4 by 3, this is 1.333 and this is never ending, right? Also if I take, let's say 22 by 7. This is going to be 3.142 and it keeps on increasing, right? The decimal expansion does not stop. So every element here, every number here has been represented in the form of p by q, and q is not equals to 0. Then what is the difference between a rational number and an irrational number? The difference lies in the decimal expansion of it. If you look closely, the first three numbers, or if you look closely to the first two numbers, what is the decimal expansion like? Decimal expansion is basically terminating and non-repeating, right? It is terminating someplace, यहाँ पे रुक गया है, right? And it is non-repeating, repeat भी नहीं कर रहा है, right? That means यहाँ पे ये वाला जो condition है 1.3333, this is not happening. So these kind of numbers are known as your rational numbers. But if there is a decimal expansion which is non-terminating, मतलब रुक तो नहीं रहा है, next category is what? Terminate हो गया तो आपका it is rational number. But if it is not terminating but it tends to repeat, आपका जो decimal expansion है वो पूरा repeat करने लग जाता है, तब आप क्या कहते हो? तब भी आप उसको rational numbers की category में डालते हो. So when we talk about the decimal expansion of a rational number, we say decimal expansion is terminating or non-terminating but repeating. Clear? And this is the main distinction. This is the main distinction when we talk about the set of irrational numbers, where the decimal expansion is non-terminating and non-repeating, which is your this one, the most popular irrational number that you have seen. Or you can take root 2, root 5. The decimal expansions of all these numbers are non-terminating and non-repeating. Clear? Non-terminating, there is actually a contest also where you are supposed to recite the decimal expansion of pi. Clear? तो सबसे ज़्यादा numbers तक जो जा सकता है, that they are being rewarded. They are rewarded in those contests, right? So you can see that आपका pi is an irrational number. Then you have root 2, root 5 and all these. Clear? And यहाँ पे the term either the decimal expansion is terminating, or if it is non-terminating, then it has to be repeating. Clear? For example, 4 by 3. Clear? All right. Next up we have the set of real numbers. So what is the set of real numbers? Real का opposite क्या है? What is the opposite of real? Imaginary. Right? And when it comes to mathematics, what is the imaginary number that we are talking about here? That is your complex numbers. And what is the basic property or the defining property of complex numbers? That is your square root of a negative number. So whenever under root there is a negative number, that is known as your iota. Right? So apart from all the numbers which are of iota form, they are known as real numbers. कैसे भी numbers आप सोचो, even, odd, composite, prime, rational, irrational, every number is categorized as real numbers. So apart from your imaginary numbers or your complex numbers, all the numbers lie in the set that is your real number. Clear? So basically नंबर लाइन पे जिन नंबर्स को आप प्लेस कर रहे हो, राइट, यू कैन प्लेस ऑल द नंबर्स हियर 0 1 2 3, यहाँ पे आपके -1 -2 -3 एंड ऑल द नंबर्स आर प्लेस्ड हियर जिनको आप कहते हो रियल नंबर्स. क्लियर? इसमें आपके सारे नंबर्स आ जाते हैं, नेचुरल नंबर्स, irrational numbers or rational numbers, and what else? You have integers as well. Clear? All right. Now what is the set of complex numbers? Complex numbers का जो set होता है, it looks like a plus iota b, right? And a and b are basically real numbers, right? So what happens is, आप complex numbers को how do you represent them geometrically or graphically? Whenever we talk about complex numbers, we refer to the term complex plane where this is your x coordinate and this is your y coordinate. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे you represent the a coordinate and here you represent the b coordinate. Clear? And then you are able to, depending on the values of a and b, you can represent the complex number in this form. Clear? And then there is a whole lot of those things, modulars and all that. वो अभी यहाँ पे नहीं पढ़ेंगे. So clear? वो अभी यहाँ पे नहीं पढ़ेंगे, but आपको पता है what is the idea behind it. You have studied complex numbers, right? Now moving on, you have subsets. A and B be two sets. If every element of A is an element of B, then B is a subset of B. A is a subset of B. That means अगर आपके पास एक set है, उसके elements, सारे elements are belonging to another set, and that set has some other elements as well, then A is known as your subset of B. Clear? So what is the subset of this? We can take B, or we can take A dash 1 2, A double dash 1 2 3. So this is known as A dash is a subset of A. A double dash is also a subset of A. Now what is the definition? The definition says if every element of A is an element of B, right? I can say that every element of A is an element of A as well, na? So it is a subset of A is a subset of itself as well. Clear? All right. Then you have some examples. You can read them through. They are very easy to understand. The set Q of rational numbers is a subset of real numbers. We write Q is a subset of R. Similarly, you can say that natural numbers is a subset of rational numbers. Then natural numbers is a subset of integers. Integers is a subset of, the set of integers is a subset of rational numbers. Q is a subset of real numbers. Q dash is a subset of real numbers, but Q and Q dash have nothing in common. A number can be either rational or irrational. It can never be both. So there is never can be a common element between Q and Q dash. Clear? Then you have, if A is the set of all divisors of 28 and B is the set of all prime divisors of 28, then B is a subset of A. We write B is a subset of A. So if you take the divisors 1, 2, 4, 7, and then you have 14 and 28, right? Did I miss something? 7 for the 28, 14 twos are no. Okay, so this is going to be your set A, and then you have the prime divisors ka set. They are going to be 2, 7. So naturally 2 and 7 are going to belong to A, so B is a subset of A. Then you have A is equals to 1, 3, 5, and X is an odd natural number less than 6. So what does B look like? Odd natural number less than 6. So odd कौन कौन से होते हैं आपके? 3, 5 and okay 1 भी है, चलो ठीक है ले लो. So basically it is trying to tell us that A is a set of B and B is a set of A, just that the representation of the sets is different, right? Then you have, then hence we call that A is equals to B, right? It is a very important property actually. When you would want to show that any two sets are equal, आगे जाके. So what you're supposed to show? You're supposed to show that the first set is a subset of the second set, and then later on you show that the second set is the subset of first set. Then we say that if both of these statements cannot be true, right? So they are true only when A and B are equal, or the both sets are equal. Clear? Then you have A is equals to vowels and B is equals to ABC, ABCD. Then A is not a subset of B, also B is also not a subset of A. This is very easy to understand. Let's move on. Then you have empty set. A set which does not contain any element is known as your empty set, or the null set, or the void set. It is denoted by phi. Clear? कैसे बोलते हैं? Phi. So it is a subset of all sets. Phi is a subset of all sets. Whenever you are naming all the subsets of a set, they are going to be, empty set is going to be one of those elements, right? Then you have singleton set. That means, let's say if I have A is equals to 1, 2 and 3, right? So singleton set may be, let's say B is going to be one set. It can be 1. Then you have C, it can be 2. And then you have D, which has 3. So all of these sets are your singleton sets, basically the sets containing only one element, right? Okay, now there is this question. If you want, you can pause the video here and give it a thought that how you can prove such a statement where it is given that prove that empty set phi is a subset of every set. कैसे प्रूव करेंगे? दिमाग यहीं से चलाना स्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि आगे जाके इवेंचुअली आपको चीज़ें प्रूव ही करनी है, राइट? तो प्रूव दैट empty set phi is a subset of every set. So there is a method that is your contradiction method. In this, what we do is we assume the total opposite of what we are supposed to prove, and then we prove that the assumption that we have taken is false or it is contradictory, so that proves our statement. Clear? So it is saying phi is a subset of every set. So I am going to assume let phi not be a subset of A. Okay? There is a set A and I want to prove that phi is a subset of that set A. But यहाँ पे I am assuming that phi is not a subset of A. Clear? So clearly, what I can say that there exists A belongs to phi. ये भी एक set है. This is also a set. So if this set is not a subset of the set A, then there must be some element that belongs to phi such that A does not belong to A. ऐसा ही होगा. अगर आप कोई बोल रहे हो कि it is not a subset of A, that means कोई तो ऐसा element होगा that is going to exist in this set and not in this set. But we know that phi is empty, right? Phi set is empty. So this implies that our assumption is wrong. Phi is a subset of all sets. Okay, all right. Next up we have power set. Let A be any set, the collection of all subsets of A. The collection of all subsets of A is called the power set of A. Now power set is a set in which the elements are set itself, and वो set क्या है? वो आपके subsets हैं किसी बड़े set के, right? The power set of A denoted by P of A, and the power set of any set is never empty. Let's say आपने एक set ले लिया empty, which is nothing, ठीक है? और set is empty, right? So if I'm going to say that what does power set of A contain? It is going to contain phi as an element, right? अब इसका आपको मैं proof दिखाऊंगी अभी once you read the formula for it. Number of elements in power set of A or S is equals to 2 raised to the power number of elements in set A, set S or A, whatever you want to call it, right? That means 2 raised to the power n. Now this set has no element, right? So this means power set of A का cardinality क्या है? Or before that, how many elements does A have? 0, right? So what is the power set of number of elements? The power set is going to be 0, 2 raised to the power 0, that is your 1, right? So power set is never empty. That means phi is always going to be a subset of power set, right? Why? Because we said that every empty set phi is a subset of every set. Clear? All right. So यहाँ से फटाफट से we can say that how many elements there are going to be in PA. See, सबसे पहले तो आपने phi ले लिया. Then you have singleton sets. Then you have pairs, right? 1, 2, 2, 3 and 1, 3, right? And then you have the set itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what is 2 raised to the power 3? 8. Clear? So cardinality of a power set you can find by using this formula. Moving on, what are equivalent sets? Very easy, कुछ नहीं है. आपने एक set ले लिया 1 2 3 4 and you have taken another set 1 4 2 3. ठीक है. So every element of A is equals to some element of B. Okay. So that is when we call these sets as equivalent sets, where the order of elements is of no consequence. Right? इससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता that you have written 1 2 4 3 or 1 4 2 3. It does not matter. The elements are same, then we can say that the sets are equivalent. Clear? Now, ordered pair. Now this starts with the, I would say, the base of आपका ग्रुप थ्योरी. यहीं से अब धीरे धीरे चीज़ें कॉम्प्लेक्स होना स्टार्ट हो जाएंगी. राइट. सो व्हाट इज एन ऑर्डर्ड पेयर? कंसिडर टू सेट्स एंड आई एम मेकिंग एन ऑर्डर्ड पेयर. नाम से पता चल रहा है आई नीड टू मेक अ पेयर. दैट मीन्स आई नीड टू एलिमेंट्स. राइट. सो दोज टू एलिमेंट्स आर गोइंग टू कम फ्रॉम टू सेट्स. दे कैन कम फ्रॉम द सेम सेट एज वेल. लेकिन उसमें क्या होगा, आप ए और ए को अलग अलग कंसिडर करोगे ऐसे. क्लियर? सो फर्स्ट एलिमेंट इज कमिंग फ्रॉम वन set A, let's say 1, and the second element is coming from B, so 1 5. Okay, so this is an ordered pair. Another example is going to be 2 5 2 4. Right? So where I'm taking the first coordinate, that is your x coordinate in an ordered pair, from a set A, and the second coordinate is coming from your set B, then we call this as an ordered pair. Right? सो आपका जो पहला एलिमेंट है उसे आप क्या कहते हो? फर्स्ट कोऑर्डिनेट और एक्स कोऑर्डिनेट, एंड सेकेंड एलिमेंट इज नोन एज सेकेंड कोऑर्डिनेट और वाई कोऑर्डिनेट. क्लियर? नाउ नेक्स्ट इज योर कार्टेशियन प्रोडक्ट. लेट एक्स एंड वाई बी टू सेट्स. दो सेट्स ले लिया आपने. अगेन आई एम सेइंग दैट दीज कैन बी टू सेट्स. दीज सेट्स कैन बी सेम. एक्स इंटू एक्स का भी आप कार्टेशियन प्रोडक्ट निकाल सकते हो. क्लियर? देन द सेट एक्स क्रॉस वाई वेयर A comma B and A belongs to X and B belongs to Y is called the Cartesian product of X and Y. Now you are understanding what is happening. पहले आपने ordered pair पढ़ा. Ordered pair is just one element, जिसमें you have taken one element from the first set and second element from the second set. Right? Now you are taking the collection of all the possible ordered pairs in two sets. Clear? That is known as your Cartesian product. So if you have 1 2 3 and 4 5 elements, then the ordered pair, the possible ordered pairs are going to be 1 4 1 5 2 4 2 5 and then 3 4 and 3 5. Clear? Now the cardinality of this set is equals to cardinality of first set into cardinality of second set. 3 into 2 6. Clear? All right. So okay, this point I've already told you. The second point is AB is equals to BA only if A is equals to B. Okay, आपका कार्टेशियन प्रोडक्ट किसी भी दो एलिमेंट्स का तभी सेम होगा AB इंटू BA. दैट मीन्स आप कम्यूटेटिविटी लगा लो. ओनली इफ B is equals to A. ठीक है? ओनली वन केस दिस कैन हैपन, बिकॉज आपका अगर ये नहीं होता है, इफ ऐसा नहीं होता है, तो व्हाट इज द कार्टेशियन प्रोडक्ट B क्रॉस A गोइंग टू लुक लाइक? It is going to also have 3 elements. I'm sorry, 6 elements. But what is the difference? B cross A is going to have 4 comma 1, 4 comma 2, 4 comma 3, 5 comma 1, 5 comma 2, 5 comma 3. Right? Although they might look same, but 5 1 and 1 5 are not the same elements. Clear? तो इसीलिए BA and AB separate products हैं और separate sets हैं. Right? All right. नाउ अब आपने डिफाइन करा कार्टेशियन प्रोडक्ट्स को. राइट? नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू एंटर इनटू रिलेशंस. बेसिकली रिलेशंस भी आपके कार्टेशियन प्रोडक्ट्स ही हैं, वेयर यू आर रिलेटिंग टू एलिमेंट्स विद सम रूल. राइट? सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई वुड से आई एम टेकिंग टू सेट्स. ओके, Okay. Now I'm defining a relation. अब रिलेशन को ऐसे नहीं लेना है, कोई मैथमेटिकल टर्म्स मत सोचो, ऐसे ही सोच लो आपके भाई के साथ में आपका रिलेशन है, आपके चाचा जी हैं, आपके बुआ जी हैं, आपके आंट्स हैं, अंकल्स हैं, यू हैव कजन्स, यू हैव नीसेस, नेफ्यूज एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज आर रिलेशंस. बेसिकली देयर इज़ अ रूल, राइट? इफ़ आई एम सेइंग दैट ये मेरे मामा हैं, right? Or if I'm saying that this person is my paternal uncle, so what does that mean? That person is my mother's father, mother's brother, right? And mother's father is going to be my grandfather or paternal grandfather. Clear? So there are certain rules by which we have defined these relations, right? Similarly, when we define relations between two sets, ठीक है, and this associates with the elements of the first set to the elements of the second set, then we call it as a relation, right? So let's say I'm defining the relation as the name in set B, or wait, the first letter of Y belongs to B, the first letter of Y belongs to B is X belongs to A. ठीक है, क्या रिलेशन है? दैट यहाँ पे जो नेम्स हैं उसका फर्स्ट लेटर इज दिस एलिमेंट्स, दीज एलिमेंट्स, राइट? तो हाउ कैन आई रिलेट देम? A will be related to Amit, B will be related to Binod and also Bunty, then you have Chetan, then you have Deepu. Do I have any element or element of the set Y or any name in the set Y which starts with E? No. So it cannot get related, right? Also, there are no alphabets G and J where in the set A, right? So I cannot relate Ganesh and J as well, right? So what is happening? अब यहाँ पे I have defined the relation, right? अब how am I going to write the elements of these relations? They are going to be A comma Amit, then you have B comma Binod, B comma Bunty, and then you have C comma Chetan, and then finally you have D comma Deepu. ये क्या है? This is the relation R that I have defined. Relation R that I have defined, because of that I am getting certain ordered pairs. Now, if I would have taken the Cartesian product of all these, of both of these sets, what would have the Cartesian product look like? A comma Amit, B comma Binod, C comma this, then A comma Binod, A comma Bunty. You know, every element will be related to every element of the other set, right? Now I can see clearly that every relation is going to be a subset of the Cartesian product of the two sets, right? So every time R is a subset of A cross B. Clear? तो हमने क्या करा है? Basically आपने relation define किया and then you have taken some elements from that Cartesian product and you have according to the described relation. Clear? All right. Now some terminologies. When we talk about the set A, this is known as your domain. Okay. This second set is known as your codomain. Okay. Pura set. Okay. So the domain is here is A, codomain is B, right? But there is another term that is your range. That means all the related elements of B are known as range. So basically range is a subset of codomain, right? So range is a subset of codomain. All right. Now let's take up the basic definitions for it. A subset of X comma X cross Y is called relation from X to Y or a binary relation from X to Y. Basically relation क्या होता है? एक subset होता है of the Cartesian product. Number of relations or the total number of relations possible are equal to the power set of the Cartesian product. Not very important. Moving on. The second element is called the image of the first element. क्या है? Image. आप खड़े हो जाते हो and if you look yourself into the mirror, that image that particular thing is known as your image. So आप क्या कर रहे हो, relate कर रहे हो उससे. So exactly like that, first element का image is present in the second element or second set. Then codomain, the set of all first elements. Codomain, the set of all the second elements. And range is equals to the whole set of B is called the codomain. Wait a second. The set of in a relation R from set. Okay, this the definitions have been switched here. This is actually codomain and this is range. ठीक है? So basically all the related elements from the set B are known as your range, and वही बोल रहा है ना कि आपके ordered pair के जो second elements हैं किस में, relation में, they are known as the range. Clear? And then you have your domain, that means सारे elements आपके. Also range is a subset of codomain. Clear? All right. Some types of relations. Let's see what are the types of relations. First is your empty relation. A relation R in a set A is called empty relation if no element of A is related to any element of A. Right? अब let's say आप एक example ले सकते हो that set A consists of all the students present in a boys' school. Right? And I'm taking two elements from this set and I'm saying that A is the sister of B. Is it possible? No. Why? Because the set that I have taken contains all the boys, so there cannot be a sister of any student there. So that is going to be an empty relation, right? Then I say that second one is your universal relation. A relation R in a set A is called universal relation if every element is related to that, if every element is related to every element. An example I can take, let's say, again, the set of students of a boys' school, and I'm saying I'm taking two elements and I'm relating them that the difference between their heights is less than 2 meters, right? The difference between their heights is less than 2 meters. ये आपके 10th and 12th के examples हैं, right? तो आप 2 meter बताओ कितना ज़्यादा होता है, right? 2 meter is a huge difference. So every element you take, every student you take, उनके बीच का जो difference होगा height का is definitely going to be less than 2 meters. So I can say that this is a universal relation, right? Both empty relation and universal relations are called trivial relations, right? Okay, इनको क्या कहते हैं? Trivial. अब आप ये देखो इनको trivial क्यों कहते हैं? What is trivial? Unimportant. Unimportant means अब आप whenever you are going to talk about, let's say, any relation, you are going to look for special properties as to which element is getting related to which element, right? तो अगर आपके पास पूरा ही set जो है वो सबसे relate हो रहा है, so there is no speciality in it, right? So that is why आप unimportant चीज़ें हम इसीलिए बोल देते हैं that हम देखना चाह रहे हैं कि what is so different about the sets or the elements that are being related, right? So if every element is getting related, there is nothing special about it, right? Next, यहाँ से स्टार्ट होते हैं आपके स्पेसिफिक टाइप्स ऑफ रिलेशंस दैट वी स्टडी, राइट? ये आपका आगे जाके काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है क्योंकि आपको कई जगहों पे एक गिवन रिलेशन को इक्विवेलेंस प्रूव करना होता है, राइट? सो द फर्स्ट रिलेशन इज योर रिफ्लेक्सिव रिलेशन. A relation R on the set A is called a reflexive relation if every element of A must relate to itself, right? So आपके पास एक set है 1 2 3. Naturally this relation is also going to be a subset of the Cartesian product. So आपका क्या हो रहा है? 1 1 is related, that means 1 is related to 1, then 2 is related to 2 and 3 is related to 2, right? ये तो आपका ऐसे है कि let's say I would say ordered pairs के terms में I'm saying कि ये reflexive relation है. But if I say that R is a relation where A minus B is divisible by 2, right? And मुझे देखना है कि ये relation reflexive है कि नहीं. That means A must be related to A, right? So A minus A equals to 0, which is divisible by 2, right? So I can say that this relation is definitely what? It is a reflexive relation. Clear? Then you have irreflexive relation. A subset R of A cross A is reflexive on A, is irreflexive on A if for all A belongs to A, A comma A does not belong to A. That means exact opposite. एक भी element खुद से relate ना करे, right? So आप ये देखो, this is the important part, okay? This is just a distinction कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कि what is there, ठीक है, इस relation में क्या होता है, why is it called the way it is called, right? Then you have symmetric relationship. So what does a symmetric relation mean? A relation R on a set is called symmetric if B comma A belongs to R whenever A comma B belongs to R for AB belongs to A. अब see, common mistake क्या होती है? Common mistake ये होती है कि हम कहते हैं कि AB और BA belong करने चाहिए in R. नहीं, दोनों का important नहीं है. पहला condition क्या है? What is the first condition? The first condition is that if A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A must belong to R. ठीक है, मतलब अगर 1 2 है तो 2 1 भी होना चाहिए, right? Definitely it should be there, right? अब ऐसा नहीं है that आप ठीक है, कंफ्यूज मत हो, बस आप इस कंडीशन को याद रखो that if A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A must belong to R. Clear? Okay. अब आप यहाँ पे देखो ऑर्डर्ड पेयर्स में 2 4 is there, that means 4 2 must be there. 2 6 is there, that means 6 2 must be there. 2 2 is there, 2 8 8 is there, both of which are symmetric only, right? Then you have two more categories of symmetric relation. First one is your relation R defined on A is called asymmetric whenever A comma B belongs to R. This implies that B comma A does not belong to R. पहला condition है if A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A must belong to R. And the second one is if A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A must not belong to R. Clear? इसका मतलब है that if 2 4 is there, then 4 2 cannot be there. यहाँ के हिसाब से 6 2 cannot be there. 8 2 cannot be there, right? If एक के लिए भी this property fails, then we can say that this relation is is not asymmetric, right? Then next one, you have antisymmetric. A relation R on a set is called antisymmetric if AB belongs to R and BA belongs to R, then A and B must be equal. मतलब आपकी बेसिकली सिमेट्रिक की एग्जैक्ट ऑपोजिट, ये सिमेट्रिक नहीं हो सकती, राइट? अगर ए बी बिलोंग कर रहा है एंड बी ए बिलोंग कर रहा है, दैट कैन ओनली हैपन व्हेन द टू एलिमेंट्स आर इक्वल, राइट? अच्छा, अब ये बताओ व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दिस एंड रिफ्लेक्सिव रिलेशन? सोचो, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दिस एंड रिफ्लेक्सिव रिलेशन? रिफ्लेक्सिव रिलेशन में every element must be related to every element, right? But here it is completely fine if 4 comma 4 is not there. I can say that this relation is anti-symmetric, right? But I cannot say that this relation is reflexive. If it would have been reflexive, then it was mandatory that 4 comma 4 was also here. Clear? Now next up we have the most easy is that if A comma B belongs to R and B comma C, मतलब दोनों के second elements आपके यहाँ पे, पहले का second element is the first element of that, the second set, then A and C must be related, right? So if the first element is related to second, second is related to third, then first and third must be related. Then we say that it is a transitive relation. So that means 2 4 is related, 4 is related to 2. That means 2 and 2 must be related. So we have 2 and 2, right? Similarly, you can check for others as well. Now finally, if a relation is reflexive, symmetric and transitive, then we say that it is an equivalence relation. Again, आपको याद दिला देती हूँ that the only major things that you're supposed to remember is reflexive relation, जिसमें A comma A should belong to R for all A's, ठीक है? Then symmetric, if A comma B belongs to A, then B comma A must be part of A. वो important है, right? And then you have transitive property, if A comma B and B comma C belongs to R, then A comma C must belong to R. Clear? Equivalence relation. एक popular example can be your let's say parallel lines. ठीक है? I have taken the set of all parallel lines. ठीक है? Now if I'm taking let's say one element is your one parallel line. So every parallel line is parallel to itself, or every line is parallel to itself for that matter, right? Then you have, if A is parallel to B, then P is parallel to A. होगा ही, एक एलिमेंट दूसरे के पैरेलल है तो दूसरा भी उसके पैरेलल होगा, राइट? देन यू हैव ट्रांजिटिव प्रॉपर्टी. इफ A is parallel to B and B is parallel to C, then definitely A and C are also going to be parallel, right? So this follows the transitive property. Hence the set of parallel lines, or the relation that A is parallel to B is a, acha haan, we should have taken the sets of all lines, and the relation would have been that A is parallel to B, right? So the relation A is parallel to B is your equivalence relation, where the set is the collection of all lines possible on a plane. Okay, next is your functions. Now what are functions? Basically when you introduce 2 or 3 more, I would say, rules in a relation, that is your functions. Clear? Again, you are taking 2 sets, okay? You are establishing some relation between them, but there are 2 or 3 rules to be followed which are different from relations. That makes a relation a function, right? So let's consider, let's just go back here. Now I want to tell you what is the difference between a relation and a function. First of all, first and foremost property is that every element of the set A, that is our domain, must have an image. Okay, so every element must be related when it comes to functions. So this is first property. The second property is the well-defined nature of a function. Well-defined nature means that if there are 2 images of a single set or the single element, then that is not a function. That means one input cannot have 2 outputs. Yahan pe it was just relation, I was just relating there. But in terms of function, it is, I'm giving an input and the function is giving me some output, right? So what happens is, one element can never give me 2 outputs. Clear? So these are the 2 things that are most important when it comes to defining a function. Clear? It will be more clear once I take the examples for it. Okay. Let's say you have the set of let's say integers, 2 integers, and the rule is root x, right? So what are the elements going to be like? 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on, -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on. Then you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on, and then you have -1, -2, -3 and so on, right? So the rule is f is equals to root x. Root x means 0 is going to be related to 0 only, right? Then 1 is going to be related to 1 and -1. Then you have 2 के लिए तो होगा नहीं, 3 के लिए भी नहीं होगा. सारे negative elements के लिए also there is not going to be any root in the set of integers. Why? Because then it will go into the complex plane. Then you have 4 here. 4's root can be 2 or it can be -2, right? हो सकता है ना? So what is happening is that one element is giving me 2 images. That means 2 outputs. One input is giving me 2 outputs. So the first thing is failed. Also the second thing, or ठीक है order ऊपर नीचे हो गया, or the second thing is that every element of the set A must have an image. But here what is happening, all of the negative integers and also the integers which do not have any root, that means which are not perfect squares, do not have any image here. So basically a function which is defined in a manner f from z to z and f of x equals to root x is not a well-defined function. Clear? It is not a well-defined function. Now if I want to define a well-defined function, or if I want to establish a rule which is going to be well-defined, let me take another example. let's say you have integers here and integers here, and f I have defined as x square, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 4. See, now the set of integers is there and the rule is x square, right? So what is the square of 0 going to be? 0, 1 ka 1, 2 ka 4, 3 ka 9 and 4 ka 16, right? Then you have minus 1 ka square is going to be 1, minus 2 square is 4, minus 3 square is 9. Then you have 4's ka square is going to be 16, right? So can I see that every element of this set is going to have an image? Har number ka square is possible, okay? And also what is happening that no one number or element is giving me two outputs. That means for one number x, there cannot be two x squares possible. Square is always going to give me only one image, right? So आपके दोनों properties are being satisfied here. One confusion can be that the elements here are not related, but we are defining functions abhi. So in order to define a function, only two things are important. First is that every element must be related and two elements must not give me the same image, right? Okay. One important thing to remember this by is that याद रखने के लिए बस that less than is not possible. ठीक है? Less than is not possible. What is the sign of less than? This, right? So two elements cannot give me one output. Two inputs cannot give me one output, right? But greater than is possible. What is greater than? Greater than is going to be this sign. Oh, I'm sorry. I made it exactly opposite. So one element cannot give me two outputs. So this is not possible, right? So greater than is possible. What is greater than? What is the sign of greater than? This, right? Two elements can give me the same output, but one element cannot give me the two outputs. कैसे? जैसे आपका यहाँ हो रहा था. This is not possible. See, this is a less than sign, right? So this is not possible, but greater than sign is definitely possible. कैसा greater than sign? See, ठीक है? So greater than is possible, but less than is not possible. When greater than is possible, then that function is called as many one function. That is not 1 1, right? उसको भी अभी देखेंगे. चलो. Now that we have established what is our function, let's move over to the proper definitions for it. So the proper definitions are that A and B are two non-empty sets. Then a function f from A to B is a rule which assigns every element of A to a unique element of B. We write fa. That means one element of A cannot be assigned to two elements of B, right? जो हम पढ़ के आए हैं. We write fa is equals to B, and B is the unique element of small b is the unique element of capital B assigned by the function to the element of A. Then B is known as the image. ठीक है? Same thing what we did in relations. Then you have elements of capital A are known as pre-image. ठीक है? A is called the domain, B is called the codomain, and the collection of all images, that means the related elements of the B, are known as range. Clear? Now, total number of functions from A to B are, if the cardinality of set A is m and the cardinality of set B is n, then total number of functions are n raised to the power m. अब understand कैसे निकाला हमने ये n raised to the power m. इसको मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई आपसे पूछ लेगा कैसे निकाला, but it is good to understand what is happening. I have a set A which has m elements, right? And I have a set B which has n elements, right? So every element has the choice to go any place, कहीं भी जा सकता है, right? And then again every element can go to any place. राइट, नॉट एट वंस, बट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द चॉइसेस कि कितनी चॉइसेस पॉसिबल हैं. वी आर टॉकिंग, अभी हम एक स्पेसिफिक फंक्शन की बात नहीं कर रहे, हम रूल की बात कर रहे हैं. व्हेन वी आर डिफाइनिंग दैट रूल, उस रूल पे डिपेंड करेगा दैट वेयर द फर्स्ट एलिमेंट इज गोइंग टू गो, राइट. बट व्हेन आई एम डिफाइनिंग अ फंक्शन कि कितने ऐसे रूल्स पॉसिबल हैं, तब क्या होगा, दैट फर्स्ट एलिमेंट अकॉर्डिंग टू एनी रूल हैज़ हाउ मेनी चॉइसेस टू गो, n number of choices, right. So if you apply the simple process of, I would say, permutations, आपने पढ़ा होगा permutation, सबने पढ़ा है, ठीक है. So क्या होगा आपका, m elements are there and each of them has n choices to go to, right. So if I take the first element, it is going to go कहीं पे भी n choices. So that means first element has n choices. Then the second element also has how many choices? N choices. Then the third element also has n choices. So ये आपके elements हैं, ये सारे आपके किसके elements हैं? A's elements, right? And how many are these in number? They are m in numbers. So n I am multiplying how many times? M times. And which is exactly what is n raised to the power m. ठीक है, ये आपसे कोई पूछ नहीं रहा है, it is just for your visualization. Clear? So what is happening, that the total number of functions possible are n raised to the power m. Clear? All right. Next up we have our types of functions. Now what are the types of functions? First function is your 1-1 function. That is, 1-1 function is when if there are two equal outputs, then definitely the inputs are going to be same. This is known as your 1-1 function. That means जो हम कह रहे थे कि greater than possible है, less than है अगर, तो function ही नहीं है, right? It is not a function. But if greater than is there, तब आपके पास एक distinction आ जाती है that if greater than is happening, then the function is many one. That means two elements are giving me the same image. For example, if I take fx equals to x square, right? If I take fx is equals to x square, जो हमने यहाँ चार्ट बनाया था, here what is happening, two elements are giving me one image, so this function cannot be called as what, a 1-1 function, right? In 1-1 function, every element will give me only and exactly one image. Example ले लेते हैं एक, let's say we have the set of natural numbers and here we have the set of integers. Clear? And the function is, let's say, x square only. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 and so on, and then you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and so on. So what is going to happen, under x square, the rule, every element is going to be mapped to the square of that number. So 1 is going to go to 1, 2 to 4, 3 to 9, 4 to 16, 5 to 25, right? So we can see that no two elements are giving me the same image. Clear? And also no one element is giving me two outputs, right? So क्या हो जाएगा, this function can be called as a 1-1 function. Clear? How do we prove it? We take, let fx1 and fx2 belong to B, right? These are the outputs, and assume that fx1 equals to fx2. So in this case, what is happening, x1 ka square is going to be equals to x2 ka square, right? So this is going to be x1 equals to x2. Why is this possible? If the domain had been the set of integers, then it would have not been true. Why? Because x1 might have been, let's say, -1 or say -2, and x2 might have been 2, right? The squares of both of these numbers are equal, but the numbers are not equal, right? So 4 is equals to 4, but the root of these two numbers is not equal. Why? 2 can be -2. Matlab the inputs can be 2 and -2, right? But since the domain is only natural numbers, I can take only positive integers. Then I can say that for every fx1 equals to fx2, the inputs are also going to be same. So these functions are what? They are 1-1. Clear? Now, so if this is not happening, then the function is known as many-one function, right? Then the next category is your onto function, when range is equals to B, the codomain. That means every element of the set B is related. That means every element has a pre-image in the set A. For example, we can take, let's say, fx equals to x minus 1, right? यहाँ पे I'm taking, let's say, natural numbers. Here also I'm taking natural numbers, but with union of 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now 1 is going to go to 0, 2 is going to 1, 3 is going to 2. Similarly 4 to 3, 5 to 4. So every element is going to be related, right? Ab see, this is a function where range equals to codomain. Clear? Also it is forming a 1-1 function that will come to later, but our main agenda here is to see that every element is going to have a pre-image in the set A. So this implies that range equals to codomain, and when this happens we say that the function is onto. How do we write it? How do we write it? If y belongs to f of b, or we can say if y belongs to capital B, that is your codomain set, and y equals to fx. If fx is defined, fx is defined for all x belongs to A, then there exists x belongs to A for all y belongs to B. ठीक है, सारे y के लिए there exists an x which belongs to A, that is your domain set. That means the function is onto. Clear? अब आप इसमें proof कैसे करोगे? कहाँ पे problem आती है? Let's say you have problem आपकी आ जाती है, let's say आपका right, so x minus 1 है, ठीक है? So y equals to, ठीक है, ये भी, और we can take, let's say, एक example next page पे ले लेते हैं. Wait, so let's say you have fx equals to 1 upon x minus 1, or x plus 1 upon x minus 1. Clear? So y equals to what? X plus 1 upon x minus 1, right? अब I want, ठीक है, थोड़ा x minus 1, so this is the same thing. Let us take a simpler example. Wait, so let's say fx equals to 1 upon x minus 1. So what is going to be y? Y is going to be 1 upon x minus 1. So this implies that x minus 1 equals to 1 upon y, right? Now x equals to 1 upon y plus 1. This is 1 upon y plus upon y, right? So if you can see, then this function is not going to be well defined for y equals to 0, right? So अगर आपका codomain में 0 is present, if there is a element 0 is present in the codomain, then clearly I can say that f of y which is equals to x, it is not defined for x equals to 0, oh sorry, y equals to 0. Then clearly 0 does not have a pre-image, right? जब आप इसको plot करोगे 1 upon x minus 1 को, whatever the function might be, so if it contains 0, the codomain, then 0 is not going to have a pre-image. So that means the function is not going to be onto. Clear? So आप ऐसे prove करते हो इसको. अब यहाँ पे आप देखोगे कि कौन से y के लिए it is not defined, this function is not defined, then we say the function is going to be onto. Clear? And if the function is not onto, then we say it is an into function. Clear? Now finally we have bijection, mapping a function which is 1 1 and onto both. कोई भी function जो कि आपका 1 1 और onto होता है, it is known as your It is known as your bijection. Clear? Now let's have the last definition of your topic, that is your function. If a function f, a to b, be a function and it is a bijection, then f inverse b to a, मतलब पहले जो function था वो आपका a to b था, right? A to b, but now I am defining a function from b to a, right? And I have reversed the function, जैसे कि मैंने कहाँ किया था, यहाँ पे, ठीक है? What did I do? पहले input was x, but here the input is y and I'm getting x as an output, right? So if this function would have been both 1 1 and on 2, then I would have said that this function is inverse. Clear? Okay, so then we say that it is invertible if f is bijective. Clear? And if f is bijective, then it is invertible, right? Okay, so जैसे there can be one example जो हमने किया था, that this is ये वाला example. This is clearly 1 1 and on 2, right? हर element की एक single image है and every element here has a pre-image. So that's why we can say that this is a 1 1 and onto function. That means a bijection. That means जब आप f inverse इस पे define करोगे, then also it is going to be a well defined function. देखो, fx equals to x minus 1, right? So y equals to x minus 1. So that gives us y plus 1 equals to x. So what is f of y? It is y plus 1, right? तो आपका यहाँ से यहाँ पे फंक्शन है, राइट? सो आपके लिए इट इज टोटली वेल डिफाइंड. सो वी कैन से दैट दिस फंक्शन इज गोइंग टू बी द इनवर्स ऑफ दिस फंक्शन. क्लियर? ऑल राइट. नाउ देर आर सर्टन फंक्शंस दैट आई वुड वॉन्ट यू टू नो अभी से ही थोड़ा सा, क्योंकि बाद में जब ये अमंगस्ट ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन व्हेन दे कम इनटू योर आई वुड से इन बिटवीन योर लेक्चर, इट बिकम्स अ बिट टीडियस, क्योंकि तब आपको एकदम से जो ओरिजिनल इन्फॉर्मेशन है वो भी याद करना है, देन आपको ये भी समझना है व्हाट इज दिस, राइट? सो अभी यहाँ पे 3 फंक्शंस हम पढ़ेंगे एंड देन वी आर गोइंग टू मूव टुवर्ड्स ग्रुप्स, राइट? नाउ द फर्स्ट फंक्शन इज योर यूलर्स फंक्शन. व्हाट इज यूलर्स फंक्शन? बेसिकली आपका ये सब मत पढ़ो, ये पढ़ोगे तो आप कंफ्यूज हो जाओगे, ये आपके लिए जस्ट एक थ्योरी के लिए है. सो बेसिकली यूलर्स फंक्शन इज व्हाट? यूलर्स फंक्शन गिव्स यू द कार्डिनैलिटी ऑफ अ सेट दैट इज यूएन. ठीक है, कार्डिनैलिटी देता है, मतलब उसमें कितने एलिमेंट्स है, हाउ मेनी एलिमेंट्स डज अ सेट यूएन हैव. फॉर दैट यू मस्ट नो व्हाट इज यूएन. बेसिकली UN is the collection of all elements okay, it is the collection of all elements which are less than n and which have the GCD of 1 with n. Basically n, जैसे आप एग्जाम्पल ले लो 10. सो UN में कौन कौन से एलिमेंट्स आएंगे? ऑल द एलिमेंट्स विच बिलोंग टू नेचुरल नंबर्स एंड विच आर लेस दैन 10, राइट? सो मतलब 1 से 9 से के बीच में वी आर गोइंग टू टेक द एलिमेंट्स. देन आपको वो एलिमेंट्स सिलेक्ट करने हैं जिनका GCD, दैट मीन्स द HCF इज इक्वल्स टू 1 विद 10, राइट? बेसिकली को प्राइम्स ऑफ 10. क्लियर? सो U10 is going to have how many elements? 1, 3, 7 and 9. So all of these elements have GCD equals to 1 with 10. Clear? Similarly, if you want to take, let's say 12. So what are the elements going to be here? 1, 2, 3, 4, no. 5, 6, no. 7, 8, 9 भी नहीं आएगा, 10 भी नहीं आएगा and 11, right? So we can see that आपका U10 and U12 both have 4 elements, but they are different elements. Now what does Euler function give us? It gives us the cardinality of UN. That means straightforward अगर आपको जानना है that how many elements are there in a UN, then you are going to use the Euler's function. How do we use it? Simple है. Simple is that you are going to take phi of n, that is phi of 10. आप 10 का प्राइम फैक्टराइजेशन करोगे, वॉट एवर द नंबर इज n 2.5. और आई वुड से पहले एक और एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं. वेट, लेट्स से यू हैव ठीक है 5 of 8 ले रहे हैं हम, राइट? तो 8 कैन बी रिटन एज 2 raised to the power 3. सो व्हाट इज द फंक्शन गोइंग टू डू? ये आपका 2 raised to the power 3 minus 2 raised to the power 3 minus 1, that is 2 raised to the power 3 minus 2 raised to the power 2. This is 8 minus 4, that is 4. Clear? So basically if I am saying कि U8 में कितने elements हैं, they are going to be 5 of 8, that is your 4. Right? आप करके भी देख सकते हो. 8 आपके पास कौन कौन से numbers हैं जो कि कोप्राइम होते हैं 8 से? 1, 3, 5 and 7. क्लियर? सो जब आपके पास में जो n है इट इज ऑफ द फॉर्म ऑफ सम प्राइम नंबर रेज टू द पावर n, देन आपको क्या करना है, एग्जैक्टली उसी नंबर को लेना है, उसमें एक पावर रिड्यूस करके उससे माइनस करना है. क्लियर? नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन यू हैव टू प्राइम नंबर्स हियर? सिंपली यू आर गोइंग टू डू 5 of 2 into 5 of 5, but the only condition here is that these two must not have any common numbers between them. That means they two must be co-primes to each other. Clear? So 5 of 2 is going to be 2 raised to the power 1 minus 2 raised to the power 1 minus 1, and then you have 5 raised to the power 1 minus 5 raised to the power 1 minus 1. So this is 2 minus 1, 5 minus 1, this is your 1 into 4. 4. Clear? So 5 of 10 is equals to 4, and that means U10 has 4 elements, which is proven here. For example, you can take U12 as well. So this can be written as 2 square into 3. So this will be 5 of 2 square, 5 of 3. That is 4, and also we can see that U12 has only 4 numbers, right? So we have, अब दोबारा से अब आप you just take your time, just give it a second and read this theory. All right. So U8 we have already done, right? U20 आप देखो, it is going to be U5 into 2 square. Simply I can apply 5 of 5 into 2 square. This is going to be 5 of 5 into 5 of 2 square. So this is 5 minus 1, and this is 2 square minus 2. So this is 4 into 2, 8. So यहाँ पे you can see that कितने होंगे elements U20 में? That is going to be 8. So manually आप क्या करोगे, इसको try करोगे, and you are going to check for it, this and U40 as well. Clear? So यहाँ पे see 5 of p raised to the power k equals to p raised to the power k minus p raised to the power k minus 1, and if 5 mn के type का है, then आप इसको separate कर सकते हो, exactly what we did here. So mn has to be, GCD of mn has to be equals to 1. Clear? All right. Now next function is आपका tau function. It gives you the number of positive divisors of n, right? अभी तक हम क्या बोल रहे थे? n, phi n आपका क्या देता है? All the co-primes, right? But here it is giving us the divisor of it, right? Divisor के लिए आपको क्या करना है? Simple, ये formula है. The more complex it looks, it is very easy what you're supposed to do. So basically, tau of 12 equals to, दोबारा आपको क्या करना है? इसको प्राइम फैक्टराइजेशन करना है. सो यू आर गोइंग टू गेट 2 स्क्वायर इंटू 3. सो दिस इज इक्वल्स टू टाउ ऑफ 2 स्क्वायर इंटू 3, राइट? सिंपली आपने क्या करना है? यू आर जस्ट सपोज टू टेक द पावर्स एंड एड 1 एंड मल्टीप्लाई देम. सो दिस इज 2 इंटू 1 एंड 3 इंटू, आई एम सो सॉरी, वेट, 2 plus 1 into 1 plus 1. So this is 3 into 2. इसने क्या दिया आपको? टोटल डिवाइजर्स ऑफ द नंबर 12. दैट मीन्स देयर आर टोटल 6 डिवाइजर्स ऑफ द नंबर 12. दैट मीन्स आपके पास में 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 एंड 12. कितने डिवाइजर्स हैं? 6 डिवाइजर्स. क्लियर? सो दिस प्रॉपर्टी गिव्स यू द टोटल नंबर ऑफ डिवाइजर्स ऑफ अ नंबर n. सिंपली आपको प्राइम फैक्टराइजेशन करना है, पावर्स लेनी है, 1 ऐड करना है एंड मल्टीप्लाई कर देना है. सिंपली आप यहाँ पे भी कर सकते हो. सो टाउ ऑफ, राइट, 5 स्क्वायर इंटू 2 स्क्वायर. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी 3 इंटू 3. कैसे? 2 plus 1 इंटू 2 plus 1. सो 9. So there are going to be total 9 positive divisors of the number 100. Clear? Now finally one more, this function gives you, it is defined as sigma n and it gives us the sum of the positive divisors. जो भी आपने positive divisors निकाले उसका sum देने के लिए आप ये formula use करते हो. It is also very simple but it is थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट दिखता है, एंड ऑल्सो इट कम्स टू माइंड दैट वाई डू वी वॉन्ट टू यूज इट, राइट. बाद में जाके व्हेन यू आर कैलकुलेटिंग नंबर ऑफ सब ग्रुप्स फॉर द ग्रुप DN, दैट इज व्हेन आपका क्या होता है, दिस फंक्शन कम्स इन टू यूज, राइट. सो वॉट यू आर सपोज टू डू, प्राइम फैक्टराइजेशन करना है, हर नंबर को उठाना है, पावर में 1 ऐड करना है एंड -1 कर देना है, पावर में 1 ऐड करना है, -1 कर देना है. क्लियर. सिंपली आप इसको कहाँ तक लेके जाओगे, p raised to the power rk plus 1 minus 1. Clear. So let's say you have sigma of 6. So sigma of 6 is going to be sigma into 3 into 2. So this is equals to 3 raised to the power 2 minus 1. Then you have 2 raised to the power 2 minus 1. नीचे क्या करना है, simple 3 minus 1 and 2 minus 1. So this will be 9 minus 1 is going to be 8, 4 minus 1 is going to be 3, and then you have 2 into 1, so 4, 12. So the sum of all the positive divisors of 6 is going to be 12. You can check that for yourself. What are the divisors? यहाँ आप ऐड करो कितना बनेगा, 6 plus 6 is equals to 12. Clear? तो आप इसको क्या करोगे, you can try that for yourself. Simply prime factorization करना है, हर प्राइम फैक्टर को उठाना है, पावर में यू आर सपोज टू ऐड 1 एंड देन सब्ट्रैक्ट 1 नीचे डिनोमिनेटर में, नॉट डिनोमिनेटर, दैट मीन्स पूरे नंबर से यू आर सपोज टू सब्ट्रैक्ट 3 1 plus 1 minus 1 2 1 plus 1 minus 1 upon 3 minus 1 and 2 minus 1. Clear? So for this you can use this one as an example. एक और बार ट्राई करो, किसी भी नंबर का कर लो आप, ज़्यादा बड़ा नंबर मत लेना बिकॉज आपको फिर एडिशन चेक करने में थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होगा. यू कैन टेक सिग्मा ऑफ 15 और सिग्मा ऑफ 12, एनी काइंड ऑफ दैट नंबर, राइट. चलो, नाउ व्हाट इज अ बाइनरी ऑपरेशन. Let G be a non-empty set. Any mapping or function from G cross G to G itself is called a binary operation. So basically अभी तक हम क्या कर रहे थे, we were just relating the elements of two sets. Now what we are trying to do is we are taking set of a Cartesian product. हर ordered pair में हम एक operation लगाएंगे and then we are going to get some output out of it, right? For example, let's say if I'm taking the set of natural numbers and I am taking the ordered pair from it, right? And 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4 and so on. It can be any number, right? And then I'm mapping it to itself. Clear? That means whatever binary operation I'm going to apply between these two, it is going to lie in this only. Clear? So this I have defined here by, let's say I'm adding it. Binary operation लगा दिया, addition. So this is going to give me 3, 5 and 7. ये सारे भी elements किसके हैं, natural numbers के हैं, right? So basically binary operation is a mapping, ठीक है, mapping between the Cartesian product of one set to the set itself. Clear? All right. Next up we have types of binary operations. So types of binary operations means आपका closure operation. That means when I'm talking about closure property is said to be closed if A operation B belongs to G for all A comma B belongs to G. मतलब if I am applying A plus B then the result must be belonging to the set itself. That is your closure property, right? Addition में हम देख ही चुके हैं, subtraction में देख लेते हैं why it is not closure. So let's say A minus B I have taken 2 minus 4. 2 and 4 I have taken elements of natural numbers and the answer is going to be -2 which is not going to belong to natural numbers, right? So we can say that the binary operation, that is your subtraction over natural numbers, is not closed. Clear? Similarly आपका multiplication भी is going to be a closure operation, that is your closure binary operation, but it is not going to be the division operation is not going to be a binary operation. Clear? Then you have associative binary operation, that is A plus B plus C equals to A plus B plus C. But this might not be true for A, B divided by C or A divided by B, divide by C, right? Similarly for subtraction, it is also not true. Clear? Then you have commutative binary operation. If A operation B is equals to B operation A, then we say that the binary operation is commutative. That means if A plus B is going to be equals to B plus A, then we can say that the binary operation is commutative, right? But आपका A minus B is not equals to B minus A, right? It is not always true. अभी हमने example देखा था. That means 2 minus 4 is not equals to 4 minus 2. Why? Because this is minus 2 and this is 2. So the subtraction operation is not a commutative binary operation. Then identity element हमने discuss किया था. That let G be a non-empty set and phi star be a binary operation. Then E belongs to G such that X operation E is equals to E operation A is equals to X for all G. That means if I'm taking natural numbers union 0, then I can say that A plus 0 equals to 0 plus A equals to A, and this is being satisfied for all A belongs to G, right? This is being satisfied for all A belongs to G. Then I can say that 0 is the identity of the binary operation under the set natural numbers union 0. Clear? Now finally inverse, same property, that if there exists A inverse belongs to G, ठीक है, such that A inverse equals to A inverse A equals to E for all A belongs to G, then I say that A inverse is the inverse element. Clear? So अगर ऐसा हो रहा है सारे elements के लिए, then I can say that the set is आपका it has inverse elements. So for example, you can take integers का set with addition, right? So आपके सबके लिए inverse element is going to exist, also the identity is going to exist, and this is going to be, and it is going to also satisfy it is also going to satisfy your commutative property, so it is going to be an abelian group, right? Okay, now अब क्या है, इसको मैं फटाफट थ्रू एंड थ्रू बताऊंगी. वाई? बिकॉज इसका जो डिस्क्रिप्शन है बेसिकली आपको एंड ग्रुप पे ही करना है, राइट? जहाँ पे आपको चारों प्रॉपर्टी चाहिए. सो अगर हम स्पेशली इनको याद रखेंगे, सो इसमें याद करने में बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, राइट? सो दीज आर द एल्जेब्रिक स्ट्रक्चर्स. Algebraic structures are what? They are non-empty sets associated with a binary operation, right? So आपका what is a groupoid? It is a structure where only the closure property is satisfied. Clear? Then you have semi group, closure and associative. उसी order में चल रहे हैं, पहले closure, then associative, then closure, associative, identity, and then finally inverse. Then you have monoid. Monoid is when a semi group, that means closure भी है, associative भी है, and you have identity element as well, then it is known as a monoid. सबसे पहले कहाँ से start किया हमने? Groupoid. Simple groupoid के लिए आपको क्या चाहिए? Closure. Then you have semi group. For this you need two operations, that is your closure and associative, and then you have monoid in which you need closure, associative, and identity element. And finally, when this monoid has the property of inverse existence, then we say that it forms a group. So this is the final definition, that is your a monoid G star with inverse element with respect to binary operation is known as group if it satisfies the properties closure property, associativity, existence of identity, and existence of inverse. And if we add the commutative property to it, to this structure, then it is known as what? Your abelian group. Clear? So आपका पूरा हम जो लेके आ गए we started with sets, then we started with all the ordered pairs and everything, then we did your relations, then we did your functions, types of functions, then Cartesian product कैसे आपका binary operation बनाता है, then finally binary operation से we have looked over what is a group. Clear? From the next lecture we are going to take, I guess, a lot of examples so that we are very comfortable with the idea, ताकि हम देख के ही बता दें that if one structure is going to be group or not. All right, so from tomorrow we are going to start groups in details, and that's all for today. Thank you.